I feel like a lot of lo-fi music these days it's of course we want really chill music, but I feel like we're focusing a lot on guitar and a lot on like creating more of an ambiance, more like an ethereal sound where we want all these textures, tons of reverb, but we're not really like enjoying the beats per se. Like the beats or the kicks or the snares, the percussion in general is very minimalistic, and we're almost kind of dipping our toe closer into like chiller, slower jazz. Now, this is all just a huge like subgenre war kind of conversation until we start to talk about where did lo-fi come from. And from my perspective and from what I've learned, lo-fi kind of came from hip hop, like taking those beats, slowing them down, making them a low fidelity, and then adding some like chiller elements on top of that. And we've kind of gone pretty far away from our source material, I believe. Are the beats still chill? Yeah. Are they still fun to listen to? Totally. There's nothing wrong with where lo-fi has been going recently. I just think when it comes to making beats and like lo-fi beats, we're not necessarily paying homage to where we all started. And things grow and things change and develop, and they can get far away from the source material. Again, nothing wrong with that. I just personally like the hip hop element that we've had in lo-fi beats in the past, and I think that's going to be making a comeback. And here are a couple of reasons why. First, and this is not a pitch in any kind or a plug, but two of the places I like to get my samples from, Lo-Fi Sounds and LJ, both came out with Boom Bap packs recently. And these packs are pretty good. So there's tools that are being made to help people make this lo-fi hip-hop boom bap sound come back, because they're making music with these packs and it's pretty solid. And recently, LJ did a competition using his pack, and about like 40-50 producers showed up and made tracks with his boom bap kit. So I think it's going to be making a comeback. Secondly, I think Kendrick Lamar actually has a big role to play in this comeback. Yes, the whole beef with Drake is pretty much over, and Kendrick's on tour and hopefully taking a vacation soon, but he is a major hip hop influence. And I think his presence that he's had in the mainstream media, people were kind of maybe fighting against him a little bit, maybe trying to be like, hey, that's their lane. And they retreated into doing this more chill, something different, a different variation of what he's doing, something that is kind of like the opposite, so that there's more flavor in the music scene. But now that I feel like he's going to be taking a break because he had a crazy run these last couple years, I think other people are like, hey, let me step in and do some more hip hop, more lo-fi focused hip hop, because there's going to be a spot in the market open and maybe I can jump in and fill that space. On top of that, I feel like we're also kind of fighting some of the other norms that we've created in lo-fi music recently. It's pretty easy to see if you Google how to make lo-fi music that people are using computers, they're using DAWs. Nothing wrong with using these tools. I use these tools. But if we dive deeper into what makes lo-fi hip-hop, we'll see that the old school guys were using MPCs. In fact, that's what Jay Dilla used. He used an MPC. And there's MPCs that are old, there's ones that are new. They're kind of expensive, they're a one-trick pony, so I understand why not everyone wants to do a MPC when you can do more with a laptop with music creation and other aspects in the real-life world. But the MPC is unique. It gets you your own flavor, your own sounds, and you can sample and do things in a different workflow that inspires you to be creative in a different way. In fact, I just had on Ferg Methazine on my podcast, Chords and Curves, and he kind of says the same thing. His music game, when he switched from doing DAW to MPC, got flipped 180, and I honestly think his music is a lot better now. And he's turned a new leaf, and he actually has a new album coming out tomorrow, so make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. But I feel like the whole MPC kind of aspect is kind of like a retaliation or a way of fighting back almost against the digital DAW of lo-fi, because lo-fi hip-hop is sometimes gritty, it's sometimes dark, it's sometimes intense, and the MPC is really good at getting that. Yeah, you can get these things in a DAW, but I feel like the MPC is really good at making this lo-fi hip hop, that grittiness, some of that dirt, some of that dustiness, really powerful. The MPC is just really good at that in general. And it's the tool that was originally used to make some of these hip hop beats. And so you take those in the MPC, you add some lo-fi effects to it, and hey, you've got like that classic lo-fi old school sound. And again, I feel like if you were to listen to a lo-fi playlist, that it's just a general lo-fi playlist, nothing that's genre specific or mood specific, just anything that's a general lo-fi playlist, you're going to hear tons of guitars and synthesizers and things that maybe are borderline jazz to you, and things that are, is this almost a borderline folk song? Maybe. I feel like that's what I hear the most when I put on just a general lo-fi playlist. But we're making this change, I hope, back to doing some of these lo-fi hip-hop songs where the drums are more front and center, where they're more of the driving force. And I think it's because of we're fighting back against the digital aspect, because we're fighting back against these chill lo-fi beats that aren't necessarily lo-fi hip-hop beats, but they're kind of in the same genre. Again, this is just a very particular subgenre war, and no one's right and no one's wrong. It's just, what do we really want to listen to? And I think that the lo-fi boom bap sound is going to be coming back. And if you want to help it come back, I've got links in the description below to the packs that you can get from Eldre and from Lo-Fi Sounds. But also, let me know what you think. Do you think lo-fi boom bap sounds are going to be coming back into the mainstream of lo-fi? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.